Hello, hello. 3, 2, 1. It's time to start. Thanks for joining us, Sean. Honest to be here with you guys and honest to be here with each and every single one of you guys that are logging in from your classroom to become this amazing creator. And today we're going to be learning about one of the most important tools that we have, which is LinkedIn. But before we start this amazing masterclass, I'd like to make an acknowledgement of the country. Good morning, everyone. I recognize that we're all meeting on different Aboriginal lands today, and I'd like to acknowledge that I'm coming to you from the Darradong land. I'd like to pay my respect to the elders past, present, and emerging, and all Aboriginals and Torres Strait Islanders people joining us today. Thank you so much for being here with us. Sean, over to the next slide. Pretty please. So thank you everyone for joining us. So this is session 2 of 4 masterclasses that we're doing on online branding, because we know we are all living in this online world, which gives us the possibilities as creators and as entrepreneurs to connect with the whole world almost, right, Sean? These days, we're all interconnected through our devices and computers, and online is saving us, isn't it, Sean?
Absolutely.
Amazing. Next one, pretty please, Sean. So today we're going to be learning about LinkedIn. So 2 weeks ago, our first session was around online branding and the power of online branding for us as creators. Then today we're going to be talking about the most important tool for you to network on the online space and bring that to real life projects, which is LinkedIn. And often we think of LinkedIn as a tool for us to apply to get a job, but it's not. It's 10 times more powerful for us as entrepreneurs. So you guys are going to be learning from my favorite LinkedIn coach, Sean, and I'll give a little brief explanation on the next slide of some of the work you'll be doing. So today we're going to be learning about LinkedIn for you guys as creators. So it's been 100% built for you guys who are entrepreneurs or creators or looking at becoming an online creator. Then we're also going to be learning about personal branding and also business branding. How do you build your bio and your photo, your banner? How do you make it as amazing as possible? So as you add people and start conversations, you get all of the amazing attention that you deserve so you can shine and succeed and progress every day. Then we're going to be talking about how do you make your achievements be highlighted? How do you engage in groups? How do you get recommendations and give recommendations? The power of blogging and also sharing articles. And most importantly, as a creator, we need to be building community and looking after a community. So we're going to close off today by talking about community and then taking questions for you guys. So today's session is run on YouTube. So I think most of you guys are watching it on YouTube. So in the box underneath, you can just put your questions. As we're talking, Sean will be presenting. I'll just be in the background. But then you guys can put all of your questions, and then Lewis from our team in the last 15 minutes will log in and start answering all of your questions. Can you go back one slide, Sean? Because I'd love to do an amazing introduction because I think you're unbelievable. Guys, this is Sean. He's an unbelievable entrepreneur, visionary, creator, innovator, disruptor with a huge heart, and he's making time to be here with you guys. He's put so much energy into these slides. He was one of the first hires of LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, as we know, is the most powerful platform for us to network as entrepreneurs and as creators. And he was right at the beginning. I'd love to know, Sean, how many people were in the team when you started at LinkedIn?
So I was number 4 in Australia. There's now, I don't know, 300 or 400. And I think LinkedIn Australia had around 600,000 members. And now today it's around 12 million.
It's unreal. And 12 million in Australia, it's 800 and I think 30 million around the world. Like it's just like, I find that every time I go on TikTok and Instagram, it's great, it's fun. But on LinkedIn, I feel like I'm becoming a better person. Our business is growing. So like you don't have guilt when you go into LinkedIn and you automatically get amazing results, right? It's unbelievable. And why would you say LinkedIn is such an important tool, and how has it helped you in your career as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, definitely. So my entire business has been built on LinkedIn. So all of our clients, our connections, our customers, and we're a multi-7-figure business. And a lot of that is just purely to offer LinkedIn. And I've really lived in that ecosystem for the last 15 years. And my job at LinkedIn came about because of that time I was spending on LinkedIn. But yeah.
And Sean, before we start the masterclass, I'd love for you to share with everyone the work that you do at your agency as well. You've got this incredible marketing agency that it works on like the neuromarketing, which is something very new here in Australia. So what is neuromarketing and what is it the work that you're doing as an entrepreneur? Combine your expertise in LinkedIn and building communities, but channeling that to help people have better marketing campaigns.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess there's two parts of our business. So we work with companies on their marketing, branding, strategies, social media, all of our content, all of those sorts of things. We were looking at what worked and what didn't when we're looking at campaigns. And the thing was really the emotional connection, right? Like how did something resonate with the audience?
Yeah.
And so we went on a journey of how do we bring more of that to the front. And so that began with a thing called behavioral marketing, when you look at psychology and what's observable.
Mm-hmm.
But we took that further. So we now do neuromarketing. We're I think the only company in Australia doing it. But we actually have a different technology where we can actually see people's brainwaves. And so we can see their emotional responses to marketing, which is amazing, right? We know what's going to work before anything goes live, and we can actually see decisions happen, and we can see how memorable a brand is, which is pretty powerful.
Wow, amazing. Cool. Maybe we should do another session another day about this. But now today's about LinkedIn. So I'll head over to you. I'm going to go blind. Like I'm going to go back and I'll leave it all to you. But if you need anything, I'm here in the background, supporting you, typing you, and learning from you as well. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. And thank you everyone so much for your time today. And if you are there on YouTube, make sure you put in comments in, because I love to be interactive. I love to give back however I can. So if you've got any questions, that's what this time together is for. So what we're going to do today is talk about LinkedIn, but specifically for people who are young creators, right? So you're probably early in your career and you're thinking about different pathways ahead of you. LinkedIn's really changed from when I first started being on the platform, I guess 15 years ago. Like Paula said, so over 130 million users at a global level. There's over 12 million Australians on LinkedIn. Australia only has about 25 million. So basically the majority of the working population now are on LinkedIn. And I truly believe that your LinkedIn profile can promote you far better than any other channel. And we're going to talk about some of the ways that that works, and also some of the ways that you can maximize and take advantage of that as a creator today. Also, whenever people search you, it's one of the first things that people find. So if you're looking to grow your career, if you're looking at job opportunities, if you're looking at partnerships, your LinkedIn profile is one of the first things that Google surfaces when people look for your name. So owning that version of you or that space is really important. And it's where business gets done. And I know business sounds very corporate, but for our business, we connect with writers, graphic designers, web designers, content creators, videographers. All of those relationships, all those people that we're partnered with, is happening through LinkedIn, right? So all of those creative resources in our business, that's where we're finding them as well. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today is, if you've been thinking about a creative, it's, how do you get found by your potential clients, your potential employers, your potential buyers, right? So how can you start to set yourself up for success early? And really today is just giving you some really practical how to get started advice on why it's important and what are some of the fundamentals to get going. So first of all, LinkedIn is just the go-to platform for building your professional network online. If you think about the different platforms, so Facebook and Instagram, they're very much around connecting with family and friends. And YouTube and TikTok are more for entertainment. But so the context of LinkedIn, why people are there, and the frame of reference that they're in when they're there is about growth, and it's about career success and personal success. I would say that it's a lot more, dare I say, relaxed and casual than LinkedIn was 15 years ago. So 15 years ago, everyone on LinkedIn, it was like an environment where everyone had a suit on. Now, I would say that it's so much more about being creative. I would say that it's so much more about bringing your authentic self. I would say it's so much more around sharing what you're working on and what you're struggling with, and asking for help and advice and engaging with people. So it's definitely a different place than it was. And it's a very welcoming community of people as well. So when someone first looks at you on LinkedIn, and when someone finds you, there's a few key things that they're going to be looking for. So it's this professional network, and people are searching and they're looking at people, they're looking at companies, they're looking at jobs. So when someone looks at you, what are they interested in? So one of the first things that people are looking at is, who do you know? So on LinkedIn, it shows connections, people that you have in common. And so if someone was looking for a new creative, a new intern, what they would look for is, like, do I know someone that knows that person? And LinkedIn, you can't see everyone. You can see people in your third degree network. So friends of your friends, or friends of friends of friends is third degree. So people actually look at who you know, because a lot of the platforms about introductions, recommendations. So that's why it's really important to be well connected on there, because the more people that you know, the more opportunities that will come your way. They'll be looking at what skills you have. So I mentioned us as a design agent, when we're producing content. So we actually go look for web designers, creatives, videographers, editors. We're looking for those skills right there on the platform. That's how we're finding people. People are looking at how you present yourself. Do you come across as credible? Are you trustworthy? Are you interesting? Are you reliable? All of those different things people are looking at when they validate your profile. And then who you have in common, coming back to that, who do you know and who do you have in connection? And honestly, when used properly, LinkedIn will take your profile, your personal brand, your business, if you're going that way, your creative, to just to another level. And I promise it's not too early for you to get started, because in fact, it's like getting started right now gives you an opportunity to connect with a lot of people that will be able to help you for the entirety of your career. And a lot of my friends from school and university, I'm still actively working with today. LinkedIn is very different than Facebook or Instagram and different platforms. So if you think about Facebook is for friends and family, LinkedIn is a lot more about people who are relevant to you. So it's perfectly acceptable to connect with people that you don't know on LinkedIn. So I will accept LinkedIn connections from anyone that basically seems relevant to me, but I never would in other platforms. So, Facebook is where I keep my family, friends connections, but LinkedIn, if people are interested in anything that I do, or if they're interested in connecting us and using our services, I will happily connect with people, right? So the context of LinkedIn is different. So you don't have to be afraid about inviting people who you don't know. And in fact, I would encourage it. So that's one of the first ways you can build out your network, is beginning to expand outside of those people that you immediately know as well. And we're going to give you some ways to do that as well. So when you reach out to, once you've created a profile, and if you go to linkedin.com, you can set out and create a profile. I think the terms and conditions say as long as you're over 13 from memory, or 14 working age, you can have a profile. But when you start to connect with people, you can add a note letting them know why you'd like to connect, what's important to you. You don't have to hard sell them. You don't have to say that you're the world's foremost expert in a particular thing. You can be very honest. You can say, you're just getting started on LinkedIn. You've got ambitions in building a business or becoming a creative in a certain area, and you want to learn from people who've done the same. That, to me, is one of the best ways to begin to reach out to people. It's also one of the best ways to build connections for internships and learning opportunities. So right now, inside of our agency, we've got two guys who are both about, I think, 20. They're running 3 different e-commerce businesses, but they actually found me on LinkedIn and sent me a note and said, hey, we're building our own e-commerce businesses, but we'd love to spend some time inside of an agency so we can learn skills that we can take back into our e-com businesses. And I was like, absolutely. So those guys have been with us for 10 weeks, 11 weeks, and they're learning a lot and adding a lot of value to us. But that connection just came from them reaching out on LinkedIn. And so they built out their profiles and they sent me an invitation, and that's how they're here today. So if you're thinking about doing some of those sorts of things, think about who's already achieved what you'd like to achieve. And whenever we talk about, if you're planning on being a creator, there's so many different things that you could be doing. So it's going to mean a different thing for everyone that's watching us. But find someone who's achieved what you would like to achieve. Find someone who might be 10 or 15 years ahead or 5 years ahead, and connect with them. and you can just send them a quick invite. You can send them a request, and it just begins to open doors for you. And then you're going to start to see the things that they're sharing, the things that they're saying, and I'll give you advice on how to reach out to them as well. My next piece of advice is, once someone has connected with you, you want to actually build the connection with them. Yeah, so you want to then begin to engage with them. When they're posting and sharing things, you can engage it too. You can comment. You can message people once you're connected as well. All of these people that you're connecting with, as well as your friends and people that you're at school with today, these in the future could be your clients, your employers, your investors, your partners, your collaborators. There are so many opportunities that can come from LinkedIn. A connection request can look as simple as this. So, hey, first name, thanks for connecting. I was looking at your profile and I can see you've been very successful at title, right? Whatever that person's done, if they're a videographer or producer, whatever it might be. It's my goal to achieve the same one day. Do you have any tips or advice for me as someone just getting started? So just something as simple as conversational as that will do really well. The other thing I'd tell you about LinkedIn is now 70 to 80% of communication on LinkedIn and all of these different messages, they're happening on the phone. So they're happening inside of the app. So it means that the type of language is also becoming a little bit more conversational. It's less corporate email. You want to walk the line. So I would still not use too many abbreviations and slang and things, but definitely you can be more short, more brief, more conversational, to the point inside of that messaging platform now, because that's how people are connecting, and that's how they're talking on the platform. So let's say that you've logged into LinkedIn, you've sent a couple of invitations, and we're going to talk about what to put into your profile next. But one of the best, everyone's concerned about what they should be creating and sharing and what sort of information to put on there. My best advice on building your personal brand, and then by extension, your business or your creative endeavors, whatever they might be, is I would say create in public. Now, in the software industry, they talk a lot about build in public. So, they share what they're working on, they share how it's going, they share their wins, they share their failures. As a creator, you can be doing exactly the same. So you don't actually have to be the world's greatest expert in any particular thing, because no one has that expectation of you. So LinkedIn can be a playground for you early in your career, but I would say it's a great place to talk about what's next. So you can talk about things that you're working on. You can share updates about courses that you're getting involved in. You can talk about creative collaborations. You can share pictures, videos, documents of the different artwork that you're doing. So all of that you can share there, and it will be found. So when you're talking about what you're learning publicly, people will find you, and people who are naturally interested, and that's how you'll begin to build that network. Just learn in public and create in public and share in public. You can talk about milestones, things that you've hit that you're really proud of. You can talk about challenges. Some of my most engaging and most viral posts on LinkedIn have actually just been sharing something that I'm struggling with. And so people connect with people. And so you don't have to come across as a professor. Actually, being more human on there is going to be the best strategy for building your brand. I think Bella is a perfect example. So she comes across as very warm, very engaging, very approachable. It's those qualities in her that help her be so successful. So I'd very encourage you to do the same. I think the world is very much moving in that direction. So now let's talk about your actual profile itself, right? And so we're going to look at your bio, and particular your photo. And I'm going to share some really practical examples. Sorry, someone else's phone was beeping near me. We're going to share some practical examples of how you can, what you should be doing, what looks good, what isn't, how to get started building out your profile, what to put in there, all of those sorts of things. So your profile picture, it's different than Facebook, right? So it should only be yourself in the photo. So don't have multiple people there. I see that mistake a fair bit. Use a professional shot. I'm going to show you some examples of what can be interesting and creative and stand out, but still be deemed as professional, because professional doesn't have to be boring. I would stay away from selfies. So get someone else to take the photo with you. People can tell if it's a selfie. Don't try to be too cute or too funny, because mostly people are using it to identify and connect with you. So I would keep it relatively straightforward. You can make your profile picture relate to your industry. So what I have seen work really well for people is, if you're a photographer, then you could absolutely have a profile picture with your camera around your neck, as a really nice example of how you can showcase what you do there inside of your profile. Keep it clear and bright, look into the camera because you're connecting with someone, and smile, right? Because if you want to be approached by people on LinkedIn with opportunities for you, then you want to be approachable. Yeah. So if you want to be approached, be approachable. The other thing is on LinkedIn, your image appears in a circle. And so you can see here as an example, think about when you're looking at your profile picture, how it's going to appear in a circle. So we can see here, this is a really nice example of someone's profile picture that looks great. It's just something you need to be conscious of. Hopefully you've all discovered and are using Canva. And in fact, one of the profiles that I was showing you earlier, Melanie. So Melanie there is actually the Australian founder of Canva. And that's her profile picture. Canva has a whole collection of great tools where you can go and you can take one of your current photos. It's got a background remover tool. So you can actually put yourself onto a white background, and then you can drop it into one of these existing templates. So you can actually have a beautiful looking profile picture really quickly and free just using Canva. So if you go into Canva and just type in LinkedIn profile picture, there's a whole different collection that comes up. I think that there's around 150 different options that you can use. So it's so fast, so easy, so free to have a nice looking photo on there. And you can see there, it doesn't have to be boring. You can have something that's professional, but still stands out and still shows some design flair and still shows creativity. So that's my first piece of advice for your photo. Having a photo makes a massive difference. If you don't have a photo, people tend to not accept invitations to connect. People tend to connect with you less as well. People tend to not message you. It's just about the approachability of you seeming real and live within the platform. So the next thing that we can look at here is your banner, right? So a banner sits along the top of your LinkedIn profile. And let's have some examples of what it could look like. So you can see here, that's me. And what I do in my personal banner is I've got a bit of a call to action for our business. So depending on why you're on LinkedIn, this is one way that you can use the space. Yeah. So we call out our audience and say how we help them. And then you can see there, smiling photo, slightly blurred background, smiling, pretty approachable. And then also you can see here, I've included the different keywords that I want to get found for in my bio. So rather than me be talking about my job title, instead I talk about the things that I want to be found for. So that's a little tip for you. So digital marketing, neuromarketing, B2B, customer acquisition, content marketing. And you can see there, I've got what they call a creator profile on LinkedIn. So you can actually have a profile designed for you as a public creator or publisher, and it turns on some extra functionality. You can share more videos, you can spotlight different things. And yeah, you can see there I've got around 30,000 followers, and that's all just come from my time of being active on the platform, sharing. And it's not just 30,000 followers, it's 30,000 heads of marketing and CEOs and CMOs and business owners and people that if I need something, or if I need to connect with an opportunity, or if I have something to offer, it's a huge audience where I can find people that I need very quickly. Let's look at a different way of using your LinkedIn profile header. And this is by a lady called Diana Newman. And I love Diana, she's awesome. And I think she's a really nice example of people being creative on the platform. So Diana was actually a stand-up comedian. So she was a stand-up comic. And she became very active on LinkedIn. And so you can see down there in her creative profile, so she's got different imagery, her posters. She started to do a lot of video content on LinkedIn. She started to interview people on LinkedIn. And then she actually won, she was awarded one of the most popular profiles on LinkedIn. She won an award for the top 40 under 40 Asian Australians. She has appeared in TED Talks. She dances a lot on LinkedIn. And all of that came about because she went live on video every day when LinkedIn added the video function. That's what she did. She went live every day and she recorded video of her with different people, and she would interview them, and sometimes she would dance with them. But then all of these different accolades and TED Talks and MC opportunities and content opportunities. I think she runs 2 LinkedIn Live channels now and TV appearances. That was a direct outcome of her being an active creator on the platform. So it's a really nice Australian example of someone who's done really well in their creative endeavors. So I definitely encourage you to follow and or connect with Diana. And you can have a look and see that the type of things that she's sharing and what she's showing on there as well. Also, this is Jessica. So Jessica was very keen in fashion. She built a lot of her network on LinkedIn. You can see there, so for her banner, it's a little bit difficult to see here, but that's her there. That's her talking on stage at an event. So how she's using her, she's interested in getting speaking gigs and appearing at on stages. And so what she does is she's spotlighting that you can see there she does major gigs. So I think that's a TEDx event as well. So you can see there that Jessica's builds her credibility and her personal brand as soon as we have a look there at her profile. And you can see then her profile picture is of her like receiving an award, probably for the B&T 30 under 30, so for the top business people as well. And of course, I said before, Melanie. So Melanie, I've had the pleasure of meeting Melanie a couple of times. So she's the founder of Canva. And so what she's done is it's a photo there of all the team. So they got all of the Canva team together, and she's got that there. And it's a great way of showing one of Melanie's major goals on LinkedIn is actually connecting with talent. So Canva are hiring so rapidly. And so for Melanie, it's about how do other like-minded people find us, and how do I show that Canva is an amazing place to work? So that's what she's communicating there as well. So you can see there that your banner, you can use it in different ways to convey who you are. One, you saw a call to action. One, you saw a stadium speaker. One, you saw someone sharing their team. You can do whatever you would like. I'd say keep it professional. And again, Canva has thousands of free LinkedIn profile banners that you can use. So just head on over to Canva, type in LinkedIn banners. They're all there. And there's a ton of really beautiful, professional looking profile banners that you can use just to help give you a bit of an edge, just to help you stand out, to help people connect with you more often. So now let's look at your LinkedIn profile description. So you've set up your profile, you've got your photo in there, you've got your banner, you've connected with different people. Now what do you write in there? What do you include about yourself? So my first piece of advice is don't leave it blank. You have the option of leaving it blank, but again, you won't be found, people won't connect with you. So much of LinkedIn is driven around keywords. And so having all of those right keywords there in your LinkedIn profile helps you be discovered. The next thing I'd say is make sure that you're talking about yourself in the first person. I think people used to refer to themselves in the third person. So Sean Whitford is wonderful at this, and it just comes across as weird. Your LinkedIn profile is your profile. It's where you're talking about yourself. People know that you wrote it yourself. So it's fine to talk in the first person. You can say, I do this, I help these types of people, I'm on here for these types of reasons. The next thing is, because all of you here are interested in creative careers and potentially entrepreneurship, there's a lot of different rich media areas on LinkedIn where you can actually showcase your work. And I'll show you some of those, but you can upload videos, you can upload PDFs, you can link to artwork. All of those things you can actually embed there into your profile, and people will find you. And if people are looking at your profile, maybe because they're searching for someone like you, that work is going to be there. It's showcased, it's findable, and it's just going to open up more opportunities for you. It's totally fine to have personality on there, and I'm going to show you some examples of that next. Make sure your spelling and grammar is right. So use a tool like Grammarly. If you haven't used Grammarly before, it's just a free online spell check tool. And that way you can make sure that everything's done well. That's hard to read there, but so that's actually Diana Nguyen's description. And that's just where Diana talks a little bit about herself in terms of her skill set. She talks about her creative endeavors. She talks about her TV channel. She talks about her podcast. She talks about how she is available for MC events, how she's available for training. So maybe if you go have a look at this afterwards, but you can see there that her writing style, it's very casual, it's very conversational. She talks about what's important to her. It's not very corporate. I'd say that that's definitely something that's changed over the last 5 years. It's okay to have a personality on LinkedIn. I think she does a really good job of that. So you want to have a thorough, built-out profile description. You want to have it as keyword rich. You want to clearly answer for people why you're on LinkedIn and what you're hoping to get out of it and the types of people you want to connect with. But it doesn't have to be too formal. It's fine to talk about yourself as you would conversationally here as well. Next up, you then put your experience. And so I know that a lot of you are earlier in your career, so I'm going to give you an example of someone, of what great looks like for someone earlier in their career. But my main bits of advice here is as you put in a job, so you can put in a project, think broadly about job. It can be a job that you have, but it can be a project, it can be work experience, it can be something that you've worked on, it can be an internship. When you do that, think about adding your achievements, not just responsibilities. So don't make your LinkedIn profile read like a job description. Actually talk about what you did. Talk about your achievements. Talk about things that are exciting or interesting, things that collaborators, partners, employers are going to be looking for. Describe what you or your business does to help give some context for someone that lands there. Talk about what difference you make for people. Think about even including meaningful metrics or numbers or percentages. Like share things, share how you can help people or what you're doing. Let's look at then like some examples of achievements, right? So when you want to be found, LinkedIn is very keyword oriented. So people might go on and let's say someone's searching for videographer or graphic designer or creator or whatever that might be. What you can do is make sure that when you're talking about your achievements in your profile, include all of these things in there. So you can see for me, when in my about section, I'm including a lot of the things that I want to be found for. So when people are searching for marketing services, they search for things like content marketing or B2B marketing or Google ads or Facebook ads. So what I do is I include all of those words in my about section. That helps clients find me. So clients will find me because they go in there and they search for different skills and I appear at the top of the list, partially because I've well connected on LinkedIn, partially because I've got a lot of those keywords there sitting in my job titles, partially because I've got a lot of those keywords in my recommendations and testimonials. So you can do the same. Make sure that you're including those keywords. You can actually see just down the bottom there, I have a little section that says, digital marketing, inbound marketing. It lists off a lot of the different softwares that we use because people might search for softwares or a particular skill. So that little collection of keywords I have in my about section, but then I actually include it at the bottom of all my jobs too. So I've got it in my about, and then in all of the jobs, and I've got those keywords repeated there throughout my profile. Doing it together as that little collection at the bottom makes it seem not too spammy, but it helps me get found thousands and thousands of times a month. So it's very successful for me. So steal that and go do the same, right? Include those keywords and add them in your About Us and in your different content sections. You can see here as well, just having a bit of a look. So make sure that you're featuring your achievements. You can do a post, and here we're looking at Jessica. So she was from the 30 Under 30 award for her a business that focuses on brand and creative collaborations. It's called Collabosaurus, which is a great name. But you can see there, so she's got different posts that then highlight her achievements, her awards, things that she's presented at. You can see the same there with Diana as a creative entrepreneur, and she's got different fun, playful featured articles there on her profile. So you could be doing exactly the same with the different projects, the things that you're working on, whatever that might be, whatever your work is as a creative, you can go and you can put it here and you can find it and you can showcase it. And then you can see, again, this is from Jessica's Collabosaurus profile. There's two screenshots here. Again, a little bit hard to read, but you can see down here. So she's got a collection of the different awards that she's won. I can see there, one of the top CEOs for Anthill Magazine and Entrepreneur Awards. She also has a speaker section. This is all of the different events that she's presented at. And so if you think about someone looking for a speaker for a particular event and they go into LinkedIn and they search for speaker, they're going to find Jessica's profile with this massive list of all of her accomplishments, but also all of those different events, the different things that she's spoken at. She is so much more likely to get found and to get booked for more speaking gigs and more opportunities for her business because she's got this here on LinkedIn, because she's updating it with all of those different events. So you can be doing this too. But of course, I appreciate that not all of us have won the BRW 30 Under 30 award. Also, it's too late for me. But if let's have a look at what you can be doing when it's early in your career. So I've blurred out this girl's name just because we're not connected, but I searched for an intern. So I searched for intern just to see who I would find. And so this person shares a group with me, I can see there. We've got connections in common. She's got the about section for her written really well. She's still at uni, this person, but she's got an internship. And I found her as soon as I searched for intern. She was literally the first person that appeared. And then I was having a look at why. So when she's gone through her different jobs, sales assistant, intern, sales assistant, HR business partner intern, people intern, as she's doing those different bits of work experience and different parts of her career, you can see that she's got these really complete sections. She's got lots of keywords in there about what she's doing. I can see lots of data. All of those I can expand, and she's got more details in there. You can see here that she's actually sharing one of her certificates that she earned during an internship. And just down here, coming off the bottom of the page, hopefully I've got a little slide for you there next. You can see there that courses and certificates. She's actually then been doing lots of different courses. So LinkedIn has a tool called LinkedIn Learning that I'll show you next. But she's been doing different free courses on LinkedIn. And you can see there's ones around communication style, asking and getting what you want, how to speak so people will listen, communicating with confidence, using Outlook. You can see there you can do a free online certificate through Harvard around improving a business through health. So that person, she's 20, 19 or 20 based on her profile. She's still at uni, but because she's got this really thorough profile, she's doing different courses and certifications, and she's sharing them right there. She's showing all of her internships. She's connecting, she's publishing, she's sharing. She was the first person that I found. And if I needed to hire someone, if I had an opportunity for someone like her, she's the first person I would ask. And so there's so much value in being found with those different opportunities as well. And I just wanted to show you her, just so you had a sense of what good looks like for you now or a year or two from now, right? So it doesn't have to be you doing stadium gigs as a speaker. It can be those internships, those opportunities, those different jobs that you're working in, those projects, and just share more of that and take advantage of those courses as well. I'll show you some of those and where they live next up. And then there's groups. So on LinkedIn, there are different groups that you can join and become a part of. And so you can go find groups for your particular industry. You can join a maximum of 50 groups, but you can actually just go into LinkedIn and search. And ideally, just take 5 minutes each day to just have a look at some of the comments in the groups and share your thoughts. And that's one of the best ways for you to get found. It's just participating. You can see here, I went into LinkedIn, and one of those searches, I think, was for design, one for creatives in Sydney. And it surfaced this whole different collection of groups, right? So, and it's all different people who work in your industry and are interested in the same things and have different opportunities for you, who might be looking for their next work experience or intern or collaboration or photographer or someone to do something creative for them. And once you've joined a group, you're able to send messages to members directly. So you don't need to have a giant network on LinkedIn. You can just join a group of like-minded people, and then you can send messages to all of them. Should say LinkedIn's a little like Facebook. You can't message people that you're not connected to, typically, unless you share a group together. That's why groups are so powerful. So you can really quickly find all of the same people interested in the same stuff and ask them questions. If in your creative field, there's a particular software that you use, there might be an editing platform or whatever it might be, you can just go find all of the other people who are using that software, and they'll have a user group, and they'll all be doing similar things as you. And it's just an amazing place to go get started, have conversations, see what people are working on, who are basically where you want to be. And then you can learn from them about how they got where they were. And then you want 3 recommendations. So LinkedIn doesn't view a profile as complete until it's got a recommendation. It's basically a little reference or testimonial. You can ask anyone that you're connected with on LinkedIn. You can even ask your other students and friends to give you you could say that we worked on a project together. It can be as simple as that, but I do recommend having that minimum of 3 recommendations. It tells LinkedIn that a profile is complete. It helps you get found so much more often. So you need a complete profile before you're going to appear at the top of the searches. So get a couple of recommendations in there. When you're asking for recommendations, keep it friendly and brief. You can see there just some of the advice. And overarching principles is, keep it professional. You can add media. Don't be afraid to ask. And also, if people are commenting on your content, you want to go back and thank them and engage with them and talk to them as well. And I'm sort of coming towards the end. So if anyone's got any questions, make sure you're dropping it in, and then Lewis will let me know and ask me. Now let's look at LinkedIn blogging. So I talked about the idea around creating in public. So when you're sharing content and when you're sharing ideas and sharing what you're working on, that's what's going to work really well in building your personal brand and bringing opportunities to you. So my first thing is write your own content. Don't copy things. People will know, particularly if it becomes popular. And sharing those wins and different things. And I'll show you some examples next. Whenever you use imagery in a post, it more than doubles your engagement rate. So posts with images will do twice as well. So include imagery. Also, LinkedIn now has a native video tool, so you can upload video directly into LinkedIn. Don't share video from another source like a website or YouTube. So LinkedIn doesn't show that to as many people. You want to upload it directly, and then that actually has the highest level of engagement. Video is so powerful too, because it helps you people to actually authentically connect with your brand and who you are, and it builds trust and it builds credibility, just more than imagery ever can. Comment on other people's posts, reshare different interesting industry articles, create value for other people on there by giving them something interesting. As you build new skills, make sure that you're showing them there on your profile. All of that's going to help build your profile. And I'd say as you're going through this, like take the perspective of a curious learner. So you don't have to be the world's foremost expert, as I said. Instead, just share what you're learning. What's next? Talk about your next move. Give sneak peeks of things that you're working on. You can share stories of like why your quest is your quest, or why your purpose is your purpose, and why it has meaning for you. Connect with everyone that's connecting with you. Engage with people that comment on your posts. And also, I'd say be patient. Success is a process. It's not an event. So it's about putting in that time each day, but then it opens so much opportunity for you in the future. Like my business and career and the entire trajectory of where I am and where I'm going was changed very much by LinkedIn. You've got the opportunity to harness right now so much earlier. So get started. You can see here, if you know Naomi Simpson. So Naomi Simpson is the founder of Red Balloon Days. She's also won a lot of entrepreneur awards. She also is one of the sharks on Shark Tank. Again, like the number one place where Naomi built her profile was on LinkedIn. And what I wanted to show you was just when I was talking about create in public and share about who you are. These are just a couple of Naomi's recent posts. So you can see there that she's talking about what people see, but what they don't see, that's her 20 years earlier and unconfident and early and still unsure and still getting started. And so she's doing throwbacks to that. She's talking about different events that she's got. She's sharing when she's creating content and things are happening. So that's a really nice example of Naomi using the platform really well to build her brand, to create more opportunities. To build her profile, and that's through sharing what's happening with her. You can see here Paula as well. She's sharing different things that she's working on. You can see here her different achievements. You can see that one of her posts there's 15,000 impressions of people engaging and hearing about things that are going on in her life as well. So it's just so powerful. If you don't have anything to share, just subscribe to some industry blogs, and then you can share your favorites. You can share what you're learning, maybe with a comment about it. So if you're looking for a little hack, or maybe if you don't feel like you've got enough going on, subscribe to stuff that's going on in your industry. You can share that instead. And it's still a great way to get started. The other thing, make a list of different courses that you want to do. And I talked about LinkedIn there, the LinkedIn Learning itself. That's really going to build your credibility. And so if you just imagine that you were going for your first marketing role, and over the last month, you've been sharing content from different blogs about SEO, might be metrics, might be branding, those sorts of things. And the person who might be going to interview with you or partner with you, whatever it might be, looks up your LinkedIn profile, and you've got one that's really thorough, well thought out, active. The other person has a blank profile. You know that you're more likely to get engaged with. You look more knowledgeable. You look more passionate about your industry. People are just so much more likely to connect with you. So that's really the advantage there as well. And do as many free courses as you can. So you can see here, there's a free LinkedIn Learning course you saw before, and that the girl who I was looking at was an intern. She'd done those different free certifications around communication. She'd also done some free certifications from Harvard. That's why she was being found first, and it helped her come across so well for those different opportunities. It's why she's already getting all those different internships. And just to show you, they've got things in here on video production and editing and web design. So it's not all just corporate topics there. There's this entire range of different stuff that you can go into. And LinkedIn invests a lot in their training courses. So they have a studio in California. There's only they try to go find the best speaker in particular industries and verticals, and they fly them to their studio and they get them to produce these different courses, and they're all there on the platform for you for free. It's amazing. And then very last but not least, you can network on LinkedIn. So you can create your community. So once you're doing these things, you've got a great profile, it's complete, you've got all of your work on there, you're posting, you're sharing, just keep connecting with people, right? So when you want to people to connect. You can appeal to their sense of ego, say that you notice something impressive that they've done and you hope to do the same one day. Is a great way for you to build your connections when you're early in your career. Join those LinkedIn groups. When you're sharing your articles, tag others, connect with everyone in the room with you right now, because you never know. I actually work with a couple of guys that I went to high school with now. So, one or two are clients. One organizes giant speaker events. And he's a guy that I went to high school with, and he's the guy that now flies Tony Robbins to Australia to run events. So those connections can bring so much opportunity for you later on if you're interested. Also look at your contacts connections. So if you're connected to someone, you can ask them for introductions as well, and just be active. Always be connecting is my advice for you for them building out that audience. So as a quick recap, the vast majority of working Australians are on LinkedIn. The platform has become more approachable over the last 5 years than it's been before. It's a very welcoming place where you, as someone starting out in your career, can go and share. When you create a profile, it helps you connect, it helps you find people, and it helps you be found by the opportunity, whatever that means to you. Having an engaging profile, a great photo, a great banner is really going to help you put your best foot forward when people are considering you for opportunities. You can showcase the creative that you're working on, your videos, your art, whatever it might be. You can build that there, your portfolio, link it up. As a great way to build your personal brand and the content to share, create in public, right? So anything that you're working on, you're sharing, you're learning, get it up there. You can learn new skills. You can display them on your profile, and that's going to help you find and connect with different opportunities. And last but not least, build that community. So the people that are around you today, you can create relationships and opportunities with them that will serve you for your entire career, and where you can help each other as well. I am now all yours for questions. So, and then while Lewis is setting it up, but I wanted to just say thank you. So thank you everyone for your time and your attention wherever you might be. And I hope that today gets you started on your LinkedIn journey, and it creates as much opportunity for you as it has for me.
Thank you, Sean, for summarizing about 10 years of mistakes that most people make on their LinkedIn. You've just summarized it into simple, easy to do 40 minutes. So thank you so much. Very interesting. As you're giving all the tips, I'm like, yeah, I've made the mistakes. Why didn't I know this from Sean before? Yes, it's so important. Guys, so everyone that's watching today, thanks for joining us. And this is saved on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it many times, share it with your friends. And I think LinkedIn is like, there's always a work in progress. So it's something you can go back and like dedicating a few minutes every day for it to see how do I don't know, change my photo or change the content and the positioning and my achievements, or write someone a recommendation and they'll write it back. A couple of minutes a day will give you unreal results. I'm like you, Sean. I've built most of our businesses through LinkedIn, and it's just, guaranteed success. If you put energy, you're guaranteed to have success in it.
I've had so many. For anyone that's seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, like I debated some of his sales advice on LinkedIn, and we had like a conversation with Jordan Belfort on like one of the things that he talks about. Like you could literally like find anyone and talk to them about anything incredibly easily.
Yeah, authors of books, movie directors, celebrities, influencers, CEOs. Like at the moment, we're running a campaign with the top 100 businesses of Australia, and we're adding the CEOs, and all of them are adding us back and like writing, and we're keeping it very personalized, like from the first sentence, from the first word, so it doesn't look like we've got like a machine sending it. It's incredible. This morning we had some people write us, I'm like, oh my God, unreal. So very, very, very good. Lewis, what questions do we have?
So the first one is, I am currently at high school. Can I add achievements from my school subjects and projects to LinkedIn?
Absolutely. So, because everything's about the context of where you're at. So if you're in high school, then share what's going on there. Talk about the different projects that you've worked on, what you're finding interesting, 100%. Because if I was then looking at internships or people for our business, it would stand out. It would make you stand out from anyone else on the platform.
Yeah. And it's interesting, you see students that are like standing out in high school, they stand out in the business, they stand out as leaders. Like you can see, because sometimes I go back, like when I receive like resumes and things, and you look and you just go like, whoever's volunteered or been school captain or had really good grades, it just starts progressing. So I really like the idea of having like 3 achievements for everything that you've done, whether it's your studies or your work or volunteering. Yeah. Awesome question.
Cool. Okay, next question. Do you have any favorite groups to follow that will be great for school leavers, or any favorite groups that you would recommend?
Really good question. So I don't have, it depends a lot on what's next for you. So but I will say I'm a member of some large groups for Reach. So I'm a member of some digital marketing ones with millions of people in there. Selfishly, because I can share things and build it in there. I'm also a member of some very small groups though, right? So there is an alumni from the people I went to school with, my like year 12 class. We have a LinkedIn group, and it's a private group, and there's, I don't know, maybe 100 that's in there, but it's just this other like amazing way that I can connect with people and still work with some of them today. Like I said, so their clients have come from that really small group. So there's no one group that I would suggest, but go find one that's relevant for where you want to be and join a couple of big ones and a couple of really tight ones. Some big ones for reach and some tight ones for relevancy.
You can create your own as well, right, Sean?
I love that. Absolutely. Yeah.
The creator that creates their own group.
Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, I have another question here. I usually share content on Instagram, and I have an audience there. How can I benefit from using LinkedIn?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So again, it depends slightly on the content that you're sharing on Instagram. But like I would be, so it's going to depend a lot on your business. I don't have a way of chatting back to you, but if you want to tell Lewis a bit about what the type of thing that you're sharing, that'd be great. But like you can be sharing anything about where you're going. So if you're sharing art, if you're sharing designs, if you're sharing fashion, all of that you can pick up and move over into LinkedIn. I'd say just the context of how you share it might be a little bit different. Also just some of the notes or the comments there. But yeah, so by and large, most Instagram content will translate over, but maybe not all.
Okay, cool. I think that's all the questions I have here in the chat. I don't know, we would like to close with any final tip, any last recommendation, and we can just finalize the masterclass.
For me, have fun with it. Get involved. You can't break it. You can't get it wrong. Anything and even if you do, you can edit it and update it. So get in there, start connecting, just get started. That's my only piece of advice is just if you get started now, you 10 years from now will be eternally grateful that you did.
I have one little tip is let's look at the data, because sometimes you can post something amazing depending on who your target audience is, you get more engagement or not. So for example, posting on LinkedIn on Friday night, no one's really checking their LinkedIn on Friday night, but Sunday afternoon, wow. Yeah. It's just, and I mean, obviously you have to consider Sunday afternoon of what country is your target. But if you're in Australia, depending on your audience, lunchtime or just before lunchtime, or when people are getting the bus or train back home, and what time do they get the train bus back home? Is it a 4 or a 7:30 or a 10:30 p.m.? So considering that, I think also looking at the data, what's engaging, because I saw sometimes I post very serious things and you get good engagement, but once in a while I transfer information from TikTok over to LinkedIn. And because I've got a lot of ministers and presidents on my LinkedIn, you can straight away see them commenting, because it's it stands out because it's a video and it's really cool. And it has a bit of my personality in it as well. And it just looks different to the traditional LinkedIn of people just sharing more corporate information. So yeah, so have fun and look at the data. And guys, on September 6th, we're doing an Instagram branding. I'll be teaching that one because I absolutely love Instagram. So I'm going to be teaching you guys. I ran a PR firm for many years. So I'll be teaching you guys how to create an amazing profile on LinkedIn so you can stand out and do what you love and get the right eyes and engagement on your LinkedIn, on your Instagram. And then 2 weeks after, on the 20th of September, we're doing one on how to become a YouTuber. And all of this will come together. Because if you've got a solid online brand that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, and you're posting with the same sort of colors and style on LinkedIn and Instagram, tweaking it a little bit for your audience, because it's the same audience often, they go to these platforms for a different, they go with a different energy. When you go into LinkedIn, you go a little bit more serious. Even the way I think that you hold your phone probably changes to when you go on Instagram, that you're more comfortable and just scrolling through things. So, and then the last one will be on YouTube, and all of them will come together on building up your brand, bringing in leads, and creating this amazing movement and community for you guys. So thank you so much. Please feel free to pop questions in and we can answer them afterwards as well, or send us a message through Instagram or through our website, and then we'll get back to you guys with more amazing tips. Amazing seeing you guys, and see you guys in a couple of weeks. Thanks for joining us today. And thank you, Sean. You're amazing. Thanks for making time. Honest to have you here with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks for having
Amazing
me.
impact you've created. Thank you. See you guys. Bye-bye. Ciao.